Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
Good morning. What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Hopefully everybody's having an awesome morning here on this glorious December 22nd, just a few days away from Christmas. And it's going to be an exciting time here man, we're coming down the stretch. Saw another great game last night between the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, I believe the Patriots came out on top on that one, if I remember correctly. And just really, really good football down the stretch. We got a little bit of breaking news for you guys on the injury front. I hate to say it, it's more bad news, right? However, I don't think it's as devastating as some of the other injuries. It is a key player, in my opinion, with what you want to do on offense. And obviously, we're talking about John Fitzpatrick. We'll give you all the details there. We'll also tell you or show you who's set to replace him. We'll show the injury details. We'll give you his production this year, and then we'll shift gears into two guys on the practice squad that might potentially be elevated if you need an extra tight end on that roster. Also, we'll wrap up the show real quick with just a touch on this DK Metcalf story, which is really bizarre. As you've seen yesterday, DK Metcalf get into it with a fan in Detroit. We'll kind of give our take on that. Before we do, if you would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your morning. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of daily Packers content, make sure you hit subscribe, click the like, and hit the bell icon so you're notified whenever we do go live. Let's waste no time. Let's jump into it. The bad news. Listen, I don't think this caught anybody off guard, to be honest with you. We were kind of expecting it. It looked like it was either an Achilles or maybe some other kind of ligament damage. Could have been to the knee. He responded as if it was an Achilles. Usually those guys go down like they've been shot, right? It's just like that thing snaps, and all of a sudden they say it's not that painful when it breaks or when it snaps, when the Achilles tendon basically tears. But it's just really weird because it reverberates up your leg, and all of a sudden your foot just kind of drops, right? Like there's nothing to hold it together there. But essentially that's what we've got here. Adam Schefter tweeted out, test today confirmed that Packers tight end John Fitzpatrick tore his Achilles during Saturday's 22-16 overtime loss to the Bears. Per source, Packers now have lost two tight ends, Tucker Kraft and Fitzpatrick, to season-ending injuries. Now, again, it's not like Fitzpatrick is a key player, a huge, factor in the Packers offense and what they want to do. It is a role player, though. And the thing that I've noticed about tight ends within Matt LaFleur's offense that are not named Tucker Kraft are there. You can kind of plug and play just about anybody in there, right? We talked about it with Tucker. Tucker's a great player. I think he's a top 5 tight end, and we'll see if he recovers completely next year from the ACL and returns to that form. But you're kind of scheming those guys open, right? We've seen it with Musgrave running butt naked through the trailer park a couple times, right, on the cross corner route, things like that. Matt does a good job of scheming the tight ends open, but it's the guys underneath, those role players that are sift blocking, your move tight ends, all those guys, right? Like Josh Wiley has been what we call our move tight end. He's that guy that you'll notice. I refer to him as the U. I say that Matt LaFleur's offense has two different tight ends, a Y, a traditional tight end, and then you've got the U that'll play off the line of scrimmage, move around a lot, that type of thing. He's kind of the F of the tight end position. Obviously the F being the move player, the move slot, in some cases the moving Z, which is most of the time Jaden Reed, unless he's not on the field, then it becomes Matthew Golden this year, right? But that's the kind of tight end that Josh Wiley has been. Fitzpatrick has kind of been a little bit different. In my opinion, he's the third stringer on this team, right? You had Tucker Kraft number 1, Luke Musgrave number 2. They like to use Musgrave as the U before Tucker Kraft got hurt. And then once Tucker Kraft got hurt, they tried to attach Musgrave as the Y, and then they would bring in Fitzpatrick and Josh Wiley and these guys, right? It seemed like Josh Wiley came in and leapfrogged Fitzpatrick as that U. And then you started putting Musgrave on the line of scrimmage as the Y. And now we've learned they're starting to flex Musgrave out a little bit more, which is to the strength of his talents, right? His natural ability. So the moral of the story here is, yes, it sucks losing Fitzpatrick, but I don't think it's like devastating news. Not like if you were to lose Josh Jacobs or, like when we lost Jordan Love to the concussion, right? And insert 1,000 other players, Zach Tom, Evan Williams, but it is a loss. So nonetheless, so there you go. It's a torn Achilles for John Fitzpatrick. Let's talk about what he's done this year. And we've already kind of hit on a little bit here with his role in the offense. Again, you got a big tight end, 6'7", 250 pounds. He was a 6th-round pick by the Atlanta Falcons, and he played football with the Georgia Bulldogs in college. So when you look at his grades on the year, and again, this is PFF, it's not everything, but what you've got is someone who ranges from the 50s to the 70s. You don't have a grade in the 80s in terms of overall offensive PFF grade. His best game was 16 snaps against the Cleveland Browns in week 3 to 76.9. In between that, 49, 51, 46, 56, 55, 48, right? Then he started to get better. You can see here in week 11, 54, 64, 60, 73. Against Chicago, that first matchup, a 73.8 PFF grade on 30 snaps. It's a lot of snaps for a tight end, right? Then you've got a 52 against Denver. And then this week, he only played 26 snaps against Chicago. Of course, he got hurt and had a 67.4. When you look at the snap count, though, look over the last 3 games, guys, 30, 46, 26. It's a pretty big role player. That's a significant amount of snaps. It really is. And look at the run blocking grade here against Chicago before he got hurt, an 81, right? So, again, last week you were without Josh Wiley, and this is what got us in trouble. You had Luke Musgrave on the field, okay? Josh Wiley would have been your second tight end, essentially, right, for the most part. And the moving tight end, the blocking tight end, if you will. Well, he goes down with a concussion, so he can't play against Chicago. So he's out that game, right? He's in concussion protocol. He should be back this week, we're hoping. Hopefully everything clears out, checks out, nothing long-term there. So he's out of the game. Then Fitzpatrick goes down with the Achilles, right? And all of a sudden, you're down to one tight end with our boy Luke Musgrave. So again, you went in shorthanded and you came out the other side even more so shorthanded. So when you look at his PFF grades on his career, starting in 2023, Fitzpatrick was a 63, then a 55, and then a 56 this year. So again, you're not talking about a player that's like, holy cow, this dude is dominant, right? Or I wouldn't even say he's a good player. If I had to stamp him with the title, you'd say, you got all these different levels. I know PFF uses this terminology, but you think of like, below average, average, above average, good, very good, great, and elite, right? With Fitzpatrick, I would say he's average, I don't think he's going to lose you a game. I don't think he's going to go out of his way to win a game, right? That's just my personal opinion there. So that's kind of how his career has gone up to this point. Now, when you compare that across the board with the rest of the offensive players on the Packers squad here, right? These are the offensive grades according to PFF. Jordan Love leading the way, 88.5. Josh Jacobs, 87. Zach Tom, 83. Christian Watson, 83. Tucker Kraft, 78. Darian Kennard, 73. Jaden Reed, 73. Malik Willis, 72. Chris Brooks, 71. Dontavion Wicks, 70. Those are the players that are above a 70. If you stay in the green here and going down, Romeo Dobbs, 69. Matthew Golden, 68. Rasheed Walker, 66. So you got to go all the way down, guys. He's John Fitzpatrick, according to PFF, a 56.3 on the year. Again, 335 snaps. Luke Musgrave has 405 snaps as it sits right now. Josh Wiley has 109. So he's got fewer than I kind of expected when I looked on this list, to be honest with you. But again, when you look at the tight end position, here's how they grade out. John Fitzpatrick is the lowest graded tight end on the team at a 56. Then Luke Musgrave, 57. Then Josh Wiley, 58. And, of course, Tucker Kraft is toward the top of the list up there. There's Ben Sims. Ben Sims only, one snap it's looking like on the season. And obviously, he, I don't think he's even on the roster anymore, right, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's with the Minnesota Vikings now. So there is kind of how your tight end room shakes out. And what I wanted to point out there, guys, is you'll notice with all those tight ends, right, when you look at those tight ends, they're all grading out about the same. Right. Well, why is that? Again, it's something schematic. Like when you look at how Matt LaFleur utilizes the tight end position, it's almost like you can plug and play just about anyone into those spots. So like I said, it sucks losing depth. It sucks losing someone who's gotten comfortable within the offense. All that does, it does hurt you in that sense, but that's the way it goes. Now, when you go into, look at this guy right here. You got Emilio joining us. Pleasant surprise, man. Appreciate you. Yeah. So here's what you got at the tight end position in terms of production. Tucker Kraft still leading the way at 489 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. He was on
a tear.
bro. Unbelievable. Luke Musgrave, 252 yards receiving, so he's starting to amp it up a little bit. 10.5 yards per reception is pretty cool. John Fitzpatrick was third with 72 yards, a touchdown, only averages 6 yards a catch, right? His catch percentage, however, 80%. He did have good hands. There's no doubt about it. Takedowns. And then Josh Wiley, of course, 24 yards, a touchdown, and 8 yards per reception there. And again, Wiley's more of that moving tight end, that blocking tight end type guy that will put you. So that's how the current tight end room shakes out, along with the injury. We're going to shift gears and talk about the practice squad tight ends in a second. Emilio, since you jumped in here, man, it's a pleasant surprise. How do you feel about the loss of John Fitzpatrick? Anything you want to add to that before we move on, man?
Brutal. I mean, just a guy that's really put his head down and worked, to get a spot, to get a rep. When Tucker went out, he was still kind of getting a little bit in between there. But when Tucker went out, all right, I got to be a part of this offense. That's where you work on everybody who's depth pieces, how much playing time can they get, things like that. But yeah, just brutal that you lose him. Couple of good guys we've lost this year, absolutely, for the year. But I do love that number there. Musgrave was catch rate over 3%, over expected, and over 10 yards a catch. That's how we need to use him. He's got to get vertical. He's got to get outside. Those out routes are money. Those corner routes, I think he just runs those really well.
Yeah, completely agree, man. And again, it's just utilizing the opportunities you got with these guys, right? That's the main thing, is just capitalizing on them. So here are a couple of tight ends that our lads depth chart is actually showing on our practice squad, right? First one, I was surprised to see a Tennessee volunteer here. McCallan Castles. I hope I'm saying that right. McCallan Castles. Yeah, he's a tight end prospect in the 2024 draft class. So again, we don't have a whole lot on Castles, but what I did was put up RAS football. Math Bomb over on X, who kind of configures all the RASs during draft time. Here was his RAS card coming out of college. All right, you got 6'4", 244 pounds. Okay, so his composite size grade, along with the bench press of 16 reps, is okay. Right, not bad, not good, just okay. The explosion grade, however, vertical jump of 37.5, scoring a 9.54. The broad jump of 10.06, scoring a 9.71. He has an elite explosion grade. I had no idea what an explosion grade was. I heard it way back in the day in around 2011. Pat Kerwin, who wrote "Take Your Eye Off the Ball," he talked about how GMs used they would grade explosiveness, and that's what they would use as the broad jump, the vertical jump, and that would kind of show how explosive a player was. And I think that legs in the game of football, they really are. Sometimes we get caught up in the speed, but you don't really think, well, how can you determine the explosion, the strength in the legs? I think that does a good job with the vertical and the broad jump. But,
and what's that frame on, right? What's the explosion on? Because Jaden Daniels, he's got good numbers. What's the frame on, though, right? And how beat up are you getting?
Absolutely. So let's talk about the composite speed grade. It grades out great. He had a 4.6640. To put that into perspective, you've got our boy Luke Musgrave ran a 4.61, I believe. He was on the border of breaking into the 4.5s there. So 4.66 is solid, man. That's a quick speed there. 8.73 is the score. 20-yard split. So in the first 20 yards of that 40-yard dash, a 2.75, which scored a 6.96. But the 10-yard split, a 1.6 scoring a 9.12, which goes hand in hand with the explosion of the vertical jump and the broad jump right out of the gate.
Or distance.
Yep. And then you've got the shuttle grade, the composite agility grade, however, good. Shuttle 4.31 with a 7.89 score, 3-cone, a 7.2595. So what you've got here, Emilio, is someone, to me, it kind of screams a you. It screams a you, like a guy that can kind of explode right out of the gate and get a good lock on a block. However, the bench press is worrying with the 3.22. So you look at the bench and go, okay, he's a little bit undersized to at 244, as silly as that sounds. Is this more of a receiving tight end, or is this more of a blocking tight end? The explosion grade would say, yeah, more of a blocking tight end. But then you see the bench and go, I don't know, point of attack, he'll probably get manhandled a little bit. So I think he's just one of those that I don't even know if he'll see the field. He's on the roster. I want to give you guys an idea of what we got there. So anything you want to add to?
My thought was a little bit more vertical threat at first, but I was trying to remember him when he was playing there. It's just you're right. You have the speed vertically, you got the long distance speed over 40, you got the short speed at 10, and the explosiveness. Even if he's not, I feel like you almost have to get ready to be a U or the flyer, right? You got to be that F motion. You got to be that motion guy at this point. It's next man up mentality here. And if this is your shot to get into the NFL, anything you need me to do, Matt. You know what I mean? I don't care if I I don't care if you need me to block 100 plays this game.
Right.
Just give me a shot.
Absolutely. And then the other player that's on the practice squad is our boy Drake Dabney. I hope I'm saying that name right. He's out of TCU. Now, his RAS isn't near as appealing, right? Obviously, he's a tight end prospect in the 2025 draft. Big boy, don't get me wrong, 6'5", 253, okay? Bench press 13 reps, so even less than Castle's there, and that scored a 141. So his composite size grade is good. All right, the composite explosion grade is good as well. 7.49 for the vertical of 34 inches, and then a broad jump of 905, scoring a 4.73. So obviously not as good as Castle's. And then the 40-yard dash of 4.77. I'm going to be real. I don't know this guy, but watched any tape. He may be a great football player. He might be very, very underrated. But just looking at the RAS score here, to me, you got to go with Castles over here.
Me no like you that, right, Clay? A little too much red on there. A little too much red on there. I did pull up a thing off UT on Castles. They were saying he actually transferred from UC Davis in the FCS ranks. So another FCS tight end, maybe, that we take a peek at, somebody a little lower level that you got to work your way up. The dude's been, at the bottom, and he's gotten to play at UT, and that, biggest state, top 5 biggest stadium. So he's not afraid of that, and he understands that aspect of it. I think you're right. We got to go with Castles if we're bringing up a tight end.
Yeah, and they'll probably go get somebody off the waiver wire like they did Josh Wiley. And Josh Wiley being healthy too. Last week we went into that game with just 2 tight ends, right? Yeah. So there's a chance they could roll that way, although there's also a chance that they learn their lesson too. So we'll see how that shakes out. But if you guys are watching that video back later, let us know in the comments, what do you think about the John Fitzpatrick injury? How do you think we should approach this tight end position and replacing him here in the future? Do you just roll with what you got? Do you promote someone from the practice squad? Is there another name? You guys may have a tight end or two that you go, hey, I like Mercedes Lewis, hint, hint, right? And I don't even know where Mercedes is right now, but that would be one I would be okay with, because you've got that veteran leadership. He knows Matt LaFleur's offense. It's just you can't expect him to do – we couldn't expect him to do much when he was here a few years ago, right?
Right. So, no, Mercedes would be like if you're trying to sub out Kennard, right, Clay? Say you want to get Kennard in at right tackle, or more, whatever it needs to be. You use Mercedes as that extra tight end.
Absolutely. So let us know in the comments what you guys think. Also, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. All right. I want to hit one more thing before we get out of here, Amelia. I'm sure you got a lot of stuff to do too. Appreciate you jumping in, man. When I heard it ding, I said, "That's Tim." I bet that's Tim, but it was you. So
he said, "Oh yeah, oh never mind. It's just Amelia." Yeah.
But I tell the guys when I do these are random. I mean, I put these together in like 10 minutes time. And, all right, let's just go live, get some content out to the listeners, the viewers, and tell them jump in anytime you see me on here. But it's just going to be quick. So
yeah, no, I just got home from the doctor's appointment, so I had a second, Clay, before I had to get rolling.
Everything good? Everything good?
Oh yeah. No, we're cruising. Just need that checkup.
Yeah, thank you, Zacchaeus, however you say the name there. Appreciate the super there, buddy.
Absolutely.
You are awesome. Looks like you had a couple comments. Let's just hit this real quick. Make sure we give him his money worth here, as we can't see Emilio now, of course. I was on the side of getting rid of Matt LaFleur for the longest, but I had a change of heart. The only coaches I would take over him is Andy Reid and maybe Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, but they're signed, obviously, have teams. So, hey, man, appreciate you kind of, being honest there and saying that you came back around. Yeah. Matt was, I'm kind of I don't know. I guess we're very similar, guys. When they hired Matt LaFleur and fired Mike McCarthy, I was like, how in the hell do you run off a Super Bowl winning head coach for a guy who hasn't done anything? Right. Because his offense was pretty bad in Tennessee, but then he gets in, I start to study his offense, and I kind of learn about the nasty splits and the cheat motion. I'm like, okay, this is the direction the league is going in. And then I dug a little deeper. I'm like, holy cow, dude. He coached Jared Goff to one of his best years in LA. He coached Matt Ryan to an MVP in Atlanta, right? He coached, you go all the way back, he coached RG3 to a rookie of the year. So I'm like, maybe I need to pump my brakes a little bit. And then next thing you know, Rodgers, who was struggling at the time, completely flips around, boom, back-to-back MVPs. I'm like, all right, I'm going to shut the hell up. Matt LaFleur's the real deal. And now the winning percentage obviously says everything. So appreciate you there. Zacchaeus, you are the man. Got another super chat, Pack Attack in the house. Appreciate you, buddy. I feel deflated about our Packers, guys. Help me see the silver lining. You guys have probably heard it in my voice too, man. I'm a little deflated too. There comes a point where it's more than you can overcome, right? I mean, there is a point there. The only thing I'm clinging on to is 2010, which we've got all kinds of comparisons to 2010. It's really weird how it lines up.
Yeah.
They lost 2 games in a row. And then they won the last 2 weeks of the season, which is wild to think about, right?
Quarterback went out, right, with a concussion.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers got 2 concussions, I think, in that year. Jordan Love just got, I think, is this Jordan Love's second concussion this year, or is it just his first? Hopefully we don't have another one to get under our belt.
Yeah, I think it's just the first.
But he did, Aaron had to leave against Detroit that year, a couple of different games with the concussion. So you got that going. They lost a lot of key players that year, man. And then all of a sudden they got hot as the 7 seed or whatever it was, 6. I can't remember how many were in the playoffs at the time. And they go on the run and they win. I mean, just consecutive. What was it? They won on the road in Philly, playoff game. They won on the road in Atlanta, playoff game. They won on the road in Chicago, NFC Championship, and they go on to win a Super Bowl. So there's some silver lining, Pack Attack. We've been here before, but I know what you mean, man, because I get attached to these players and rooting for them, and you learn a little bit about their family and their faith and their background, and to see them just go down one at a time, man, it sucks. So I feel you, man. But man, you got to play it out. That's the National Football League, Emilio.
That's what I feel like, Clay. Next man up mentality is how it has to be. But you're right. I love this team. Love that we're there. I mean, we still have, we're still basically heading our way into the playoffs. If the Lions lose, I think we're in automatically, right? So we are in control of our own destiny. All we've been talking about all year is just get a ticket to the dance. That's all that matters. It doesn't, whatever happened beforehand, whatever happened. But you get that ticket, you're off. And you remember we lost Charles Woodson, mid-game Super Bowl. So there's just, you're never going to get away from injuries. That's the game. That's just putting your head down and keep going.
Absolutely. Mike with the super chat. Thank you, Mike. He says, good morning. DK will be suspended. The NFL will be paying that fan. Did Lamar get hurt last night? It's not over yet. Lamar did get hurt last night. He hurt something. It looked like something midsection or something, right? We'll answer this real quick, and then we'll get to the DK. That's a perfect segue there, by the way.
My man, Mike. You're hired, Mike. You're hired, bud.
Got to get Mike on the payroll here, man. I'm telling you. So he hurt something with the midsection, could not come back in. They were coming out at halftime saying he may play. John Harbaugh was holding it close to the vest. I see J. Cole said he hurt his back, so it might have been a back injury. It was something in the torso, like midsection area, and they said he could hardly move. Now, listen, we don't wish injury on anybody. I know Mike's not, or anybody else in the chat. That's not what we're doing here. Now, Snoop came in and played pretty damn well. I don't think they're going to have a huge drop-off from Lamar based on how everything's played this season, but it is a drop-off. You're talking about a former MVP quarterback in Lamar Jackson. So, I think that's very well said. And now let's talk about DK, okay? Let's shift gears here, Emilio. We'll have plenty of time to talk about Lamar and his health as the season goes along, or as the week goes along leading up to the game Saturday night. DK Metcalf, did you see what happened here?
Yeah, fan was leaning over, right? Looked like he was holding a terrible towel or had a jersey or something.
Yeah, so I couldn't tell if it was that or he had like a wig on, like a blue wig. But I've got a little bit different take here, right? And we're gonna go into the vault a little bit here. And first, though, let's play this audio from Good Morning Football. I've got a screenshot from the incident. If we play any of the video, you guys know what'll happen. So we got to be real careful with this, right? But there was an incident earlier in the year too. I've actually just to kind of add to it. I didn't add it in here yet. My bad, Emilio. Let me or did I? There should be an image of DK. Here it is right here. Bang.
Oh, bang.
So everybody kind of knows. Thank you for that super chat, Mike. We appreciate you, buddy. So there you can see what happens. I don't know if he grabs the wig or grabs his shirt, but he pulls him down. And then as he pushed him away, to me, it didn't look like he punched him. It looked like an open hand. He just kind of shoved him away. And I'm not trying to minimize this. I agree with Mike. He's going to get suspended. There's no doubt about it, right? But I love the girl on the right there. You notice she wasn't like, get out of here, get out of here. It kind of makes me wonder if she was sitting there going, this guy's got what, he's running his mouth.
He could have said some stuff right there, Clay. You know what I'm saying? You can hang over and say some stuff right there.
Yeah, and people were saying, like I see Andy Dubs in the chat says a fan called him out by name. That could have been the case, right? However, we don't know what all was said. I've been to these games, and I know everybody else has. The crowd, they will say stuff sometimes. I've been in the stadium before, and I'm like, that railing's there is the only reason you're saying that. Bro.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you're saying that. So, again, DK has a history of this too, right? DK Metcalf has a history of getting personal fouls in the game, and it seems like it's easy to put a quarter in that guy, right? It just is. But at the same time, as a fan, what did you say? Why are you leaning over the railing too?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the thing. Like, why are you leaning down trying to get into his face? How is he able to even grab a hold of you right there? Right. So there's just a lot of stuff here that comes into play. I'm going to play this audio. This was from Good Morning Football. This was Kyle Brandt interviewing our boy Ian Rappaport, and Ian just kind of gives a little bit of information on it. I see the super there, Seth. We'll get to it in a second, buddy. We appreciate you. Here was Ian Rappaport and Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football.
CBS has the clip. He puts his hands on a fan. He's displeased. The fan throws his hands up. Weird image. I hate seeing it. DK seems like a really cool player, but this is horrible. So what are you hearing about this?
Horrible. Yeah, this is something that will be investigated by the NFL.
Now, keep in mind, Ian Rappaport works for the NFL. He's going to say the PR line, right? He works for the NFL Network, which is owned by the NFL. So this is him. He's going to try to say everything, DK's wrong. Right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And likely decided upon by the end of the day when we've seen players be suspended. Generally, it's come Monday at night. So I would say look out for that today. We've seen a couple different angles. That looks like a punch. There's another angle that looks more like a swipe. Now, the fan was quoted by, I believe it was the Detroit Free Press, saying that DK got mad because he called DK by his full name rather than just his initials. Seems like a weird thing to get mad about, but I guess anything is possible. Who knows? But yes, this will be reviewed by the NFL. If there is a suspension, then obviously DK Metcalf will not play the next game, in one that, with a lot on the line for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but certainly a very, very weird situation and a weird game.
Yeah. And what is the next game? Let's just hold that. Remind me. We'll talk about that on the backside. We'll get sidetracked. So here's what I wanted to point out. When was the last time you've seen a player go over and put his hands on a fan in the National Football League? Does anybody remember?
Mid-game. Mid-game.
Mid-game, right. So, because I can't. I don't remember, right? I don't. Well, you guys remember this incident right here? Do you remember when Matt LaFleur got into it? And again, I can't play the footage, but you remember when Matt LaFleur got into it with a Detroit Lions fan?
Yeah.
So, again, I'm not justifying what DK did, but if everywhere you go it smells like dog crap, you might want to check your boot, right? And that's why I said in the original tweet, and I've already closed it out here, but I'll put Dara's tweet up here real quick. And again, I would play the video here, but obviously it's you won't be able to hear the sound very well because he's it's coming off of a TV. But essentially, what I said in this tweet was, I said obviously DK Metcalf can't respond this way, but remember when a Lions fan tried to provoke Matt LaFleur on the field? This was pregame. Remember when the Packers and the Lions were playing? I think it was last year or the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Said this doesn't seem to be an issue with the other 31 fan bases, only trashy ass Detroit Lions fans. We've seen this firsthand with social media this year. Now, they're real quiet. Now, Lions fans have stopped chirping. They are dead silent now, right? Funny how that works when you kick their ass twice in a year.
Yep.
But Dara put this out. Matt LaFleur just told a Lions fan on the field who was taunting in his face, shut the F up. It's getting very, very spicy before a ball has even been snapped, right? And shout out.
Wasn't he he was pulling out the flag or something? The dude was running the flag and was going out of his way to try to talk smack to a head coach of a football team. Like, dude.
Yep. And then as soon as he got the attention he wanted, right? Probably shouldn't do this. I'm going to play it. I want you to notice. Now pull it. You're good. Pull that off there. Thank you, though, Emilio. I want you to notice what happens here. Watch the fan. So the fan's talking to him, right? And Matt's going, get off the field, and watch the fan. See him. Get it up, crowd. Get it up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's what he
needs his support. He can't do it by himself. Go ahead.
Right. And it's obvious what he was trying to do was provoke Matt LaFleur, right? So, again, I'm not saying DK is right with that whole situation. What I am saying is it's funny how this always seems to happen with Detroit Lions fans.
Well,
they got a little bit
when they take the paper bag off, Clay. Then they get a little bit of voice to their.
They got a little bit of success over the last few years, right? And all of a sudden, the trash is coming out of the trailer park, right? Everybody's out there running their mouth, and all of a sudden DK's grabbing one by the collar. You have Matt LaFleur cussing one out on the field. I'm just saying this isn't happening to the other fan bases. Yes, you get chirpers, like I said earlier, right? And I always think that Relling was there, you wouldn't be saying that, right? But I don't know, man. This just seems like it's Detroit Lions fans have kind of hit this different level this year, and it's funny to watch karma just smack them in the face. So, what's your take on all that, man? Everything. Am I wrong there? Am I drawing too much of a parallel because it is a fan base? It's a rival fan base.
No, I mean, it's not a great look for DK right now, a great look for the NFL, but I also think that dude could have said one of a million things to DK that spun him over the edge. And the fact that it happened in game, the dude was trying to, you can't even get a player's attention. You know what I mean? Mid game to have him leave the sideline to go over there and say something. So I feel like there was a reason that he did that. Yeah, you can't be going around doing that. But also, Clay, it's like, someone's going to talk some smack like that to you. You're not, I mean, you were standing on business or what's going on here. You know what I mean? So, so I think that's completely fair for him, but yeah, you're going to have to take the L. If you skip out a game, whatever. I pulled up their schedule next week. They're at the Browns and then they're home against the Ravens.
Got it. Okay, cool. For some reason I was thinking it was another NFC North team, and I was like, of course, right? Yeah, of course, this is going to be the Bears or somebody, right?
Yeah. But again, on top of that, you got the dub too in their house. Basically knocked them out of the playoffs. Like that's more smack talking to that kid right there. That you can go take that mop that he's got dyed blue and just take that thing and throw it away for the year.
Yeah, so obviously their backs are against the wall. The Packers, I think, have a 94% chance of making the playoffs now, and the Lions are just a little small glimmer of hope trying to hang on to the season. We got a super chat here from Seth. Good to see you, buddy. He says, DJ game winner looked kind of like both hands came off the ball and lost rolled on the ground, but never got better angles. Doesn't even seem like they checked. I'm trying to think of what he's talking about. DJ game winner.
The
DJ Moore catch.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You guys got to use first and last names for this dumb redneck. I apologize. I absolutely butchered it. So, yeah, when I first seen it, I thought that please don't be a catch because it did look like it might have hit the ground. The replay that I seen, Seth, I think he caught it. I didn't see anything on the replay where it looked like the ball hit the ground. But to your point, it did kind of seem like they didn't take any time at all to see if he actually caught it. I understand what he's saying there, too. You think they would just stop for a second, go, all right, it's under review. Let's make sure it's a catch. Did they do that at all that you've seen? I don't remember.
I remember, no. And you would think that they would, right? Just because that's what they're trying to do is hammer that out. You got the quick, get the replay assist and all that. But no, Let's just move on. It's easy when we're watching from TV and they choose not to show some of that stuff. You know what I mean? Because we can go back and rewind and actually see it. But then sometimes you see something super obvious and they just pick the camera angle showing something completely, different from that happening on the play. And then they won't show another clip. So,
right. Yeah. And listen, there's a lot of other stuff that's happened. Obviously I put several tweets out, like the one of Quay Walker's jersey being held was wild to me, man. Hell, there was one last night. I don't know if you've seen it, but they didn't call a PI on Baltimore. The dude tackled the guy. I mean, before the ball even got to him, he literally wraps him up around his waist, slides down his legs, trips him up, and the receiver catches the ball, hits the ground, the ball flies out. No foul at all.
Clean.
Yeah. But the Quay Walker one is just wild to me since he brought up kind of the officiating and not really looking at that play. This is the one that got me, Seth. This is the one that was just like going back and looking at it and watching the tape again. You're like, how do you miss this? How do you miss this call right here? And again, this is the most important play of the game. Mm-hmm. And people are, how does Caleb continue to make these guys miss? How does he evade these? And thank you for the super chat there, Seth. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because they got a handful of, the guy is completely horizontal in the air with his hand holding Quay Walker's jersey, stretching it out a good 2 feet. Like, again, Emilio, it's getting more and more difficult.
And you're acting like that doesn't, people are acting like that doesn't stop momentum. If a dude that's 250 pounds is holding something back, who's another dude for 250 pounds, there's a momentum being stopped there at some point. Game of inches, we talk about it all the time. But the fact that you get away with something like that on that kind of a play, no.
And there's when a fan base wins the game, they don't complain about it typically. We try to complain about it even with a win. We did it 2 weeks ago, remember? It's like, hey, look, we won the game, but still this is an issue, right? So the fans that go, quit whining just because you lost. Okay, when you lose, right, you're going to be the one complaining. Mm-hmm. We're the only ones that are going, hey, I know we won anyway, but look, this call, and this call. The goal should be to get it right. Yeah. And it sucks because this is going to go down as one of the games of the year. It sucks that we lost the game, don't get me wrong, but Caleb Williams, this throw right here, Emilio, was a dime piece. Like it was bro, it was and again, evading the rush, rolling, scrambling left just a little bit. It's kind of semi across his body, but had to reset, fired a cannon shot. We shouldn't have to be sitting here talking about, but did the officials play a role here? We shouldn't have to do that.
Because they would have been willing to throw a flag on a pass interference, no problem on that last play, right, Clay? That wouldn't have been an issue if we could have thrown a pass interference call, but a holding call? No.
Absolutely. So again, we didn't have this on the show notes here this morning, but I'm glad that Seth just bringing certain things up like that. It's a little bit different, man. I don't know. This year just feels different with some of the calls. And again, last night, I put that tweet out last night in the Patriots game for the same reason. Matter of fact, I could probably find it real quick and then we'll wrap up. I got Mandy blowing my phone up over here. I was supposed to do a 20-minute segment. We're 35
minutes. And then she said, look who showed up. And then now we're late. Yeah. I think I got the segment for you, Clay. That's who we're looking for.
There you go. So we can show you a still shot here. And again, people go, oh, it's a still shot. You need to show the video. Okay. I don't think you need a video for this one. All right. Let's just show it here. You see, all right. So the receiver's trying to catch the ball, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, look, the ball still isn't there. Look at this defender, bro. Look at this defender. Look at this. Slides all the way down his body. Got him by the legs, keeping him from jumping. Right? What are we doing? No penalty. And watch number 44 look up. He looks up and around like, oh, crap. And nobody.
Like, oh, okay. I got away with one.
Yeah. So again, I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm not a Ravens fan. I'm not trying to, the point is like there's something going on. How does it get to this point where you could see a blatant pass interference with the game on? That was the fourth quarter, I believe. Mm-hmm. And you've seen the end zone in the background. They're driving. They're trying to win this thing, right? But again, you always step back and go, but hold up a minute. All right. What's on the line for the Patriots? Okay, they're the number 1 seed now, I believe. If not number 2 seed, they pretty much got the playoffs.
I think they got a berth with that win.
Right. So, and I think we all agreed they were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
One of the best records in the league. But the point is, you look at the Baltimore Ravens. Which team did the call benefit? It benefited the Ravens. Okay, what happens with the Ravens? They're in a divisional run here against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who won today. Every week we get a controversial call. I'm telling you, every single week you look up and go, that benefited the team that's trying to catch up. Mm-hmm. That benefited the team that's trying to, that's like with the Packers. The Packers and the Bears. The Bears got penalized way more than the Packers on Saturday, right?
Yep.
Now you looked at the one call there at the end of the game. I don't think that's why the Packers lost, but boy, it's a bad look. That's a game-winning play. They didn't call a hold, right? Okay, so the Bears were penalized more than the Packers all night. Who's in first place? The Bears are in first place. Mm-hmm. The Packers were chasing the Bears down. And lo and behold, the Bears get penalized more than I'm just saying every week. Pay attention. Yeah. Just watch it. It's really strange how it almost never benefits the team who's kind of got this extensive lead, or they're leading.
Lions got a couple calls against the Steelers the other night, Clay. Why? So that we could get the Steelers down to a loss so that the Ravens could be playing for the game in Week 18.
Yeah, it's weird. And listen, I understand there's a portion of the fan base, the NFL fan base, that says, no, I think they're just bad at their job. They can't be that bad on that pass interference. You can see the official in the background watching the whole thing happen. He sees the guy draped on him. You've got officials, we've shown it all year long, them watching them hold Mike. They're looking at Micah. No, I'm not talking about rip calls. Immediately people go, well, was it a rip move? I'm talking about Micah speed rush around the edge, no rip, just dip, get the edge, and they got their hand on his throat. Official standing right there, no flag. It's really, really strange, man. Really strange. I'll just leave it at that. So there you go. We covered DK Metcalf. We covered a little bit of bad officiating. Let me make a note there. And we're going to wrap up right there. There you go. Emilio's got the it's hilarious. That's really hilarious. So, and this is another one too. Coach Lynn says here, last one, the ending of the Lions game call was crazy. It was. Yeah. It was. Absolutely was. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up there, guys. I get going and see if Mandy's ticked off or not. If you guys are watching this video back later, appreciate you guys. Let us know in the comments. How do you feel about the DK Metcalf situation? Was he out of line? Was the Lions fan out of line? Do you think there's a commonality there between the Lions fans constantly doing this type of stuff and getting into it with coaches and players? Or do you think it's just something that was just a coincidence? Also, let us know about the officiating. How do you feel about the officiating in the NFL? We want to hear from you guys. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live on this particular channel in the future. Everybody have a great day. Emilio, I appreciate you jumping in here on short notice, man, like that,
Absolutely.
just hopping in. Yeah, we'll see you guys tonight, 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live. My name is Clayton. That's Emilio. Go Pack Go.
Here we go. We out.
Bye, guys.